Okay, hello and welcome to the weather update. It's about 7:30, February 6, 2020, and we're looking at more rain. We had some rain earlier today, getting a little break this afternoon and early evening. Fortunately, hasn't been too heavy, but look at what we have off to the south here. There's a lot of severe weather over here too, and this is all a conveyor of moisture that is just coming up the entire east coast, right from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up. As you can see here, we have this just conveyor of moisture here. And we'll also look at the satellite too. And you can see some of these really heavy showers and thunderstorms that are stretching from Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, into Virginia, and some of this heavy rain over here. It's questionable as to how far north this is going to get. Well, this is interesting. Take a look at this. Alright, so we're going to get a little closer here. That's a little too close. Look at this. This is interesting. Like a little bit of a curl here. Notice this? Look at this. Look over here where my mouse is. Look at that little curl right there. Notice there was some rotation in that. That's kind of interesting to see. But right now, like I said, it's been fairly dry over the area. I mean, it's been raining, but it hasn't been heavy downpour type of rain. We had a little bit of that last night. Taking a closer look at the radar, you'll see here again, we just have very light rain sprinkles, nothing really heavy. Again, there's that area of heavy rain just off to our south and east. It brushed Atlantic City and then moved out over the ocean. Let's take a look and see how much rain we've gotten so far. So let me go look at the Wonderground site, which is what we're supposed to put on over here. Not this. We're supposed to put Wonderground on. So let's see what we have now. If you look at the temperatures, first of all, you'll see here Long Island's in the upper 30s, but look over New Jersey, you'll see it's a lot warmer there. We have mid 40s actually over New Jersey, so much warmer. You can see this is kind of like where the warmer air is. Let's go and look at the amount of precipitation that we've gotten so far. So it looks like most areas have seen so far, looks like a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Across, yes, or half an inch to around 3/4 of an inch of rain across area that includes New Jersey as well. But we will be getting more rain overnight. Let's look at the satellite here, and I'll show you this huge storm here, this huge feed. This is a fire hose situation, and it seems to be happening all too often across the East Coast, where you get these fire hose situations, and as you'll see here, it's just the moisture's coming right out of the tropics, right up the East Coast, all the way up the entire East Coast here. So your low is over here, your centers of low pressure are over here, all right, and it's just pulling. You can see where this trough is right here. This is your jet stream. That just disappeared, interestingly enough. There we go. All right, let's try to hit erase here. Here we go. This is your jet stream over here. So your jet stream is over here. Let's write in this color, I guess. Your jet stream is like this. So there's a trough, a deep trough in the Midwest, and then the moisture is just coming up the whole East Coast here, as you see. So you can see this is some really severe weather. This is like an unusual. It's February. We're not supposed to see this type of jet stream pattern in February. Very unusual to see. Let's go to the weather and hazards map, because as you can see here, we have these flood advisories in effect, severe thunderstorm watches, and tornado watches in effect for northern parts of Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. So you can see the kind of air mass, and then you have some winter weather over western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, stretching into Kentucky, and then some more winter weather out west. Not in Flagstaff though, but further north. So let's look at some of the observations, some of the temperatures here, and also throw in the dew point on this as well, so you can get an idea of what's going on here. Again, this is quite unusual, but this is something we're seeing more and more of due to climate change. You can see on Long Island, we're hovering around the 40-degree mark, upper 30s. You can see over in New Jersey, it's warmer. and then this much warmer air. I'll just show you the kind of air that this is here. If we go over the Carolinas, we're talking summertime type weather here. Temperatures in the low and mid 70s, and very strong LLJ. Dew points in the upper 60s. So we're talking about some really tropical air here. Again, this is very unusual to see this in February, and very disturbing to see. That stuff won't make it this far north, but we're certainly going to be dealing with some of this disgusting air. It's going to start moving up in our direction as we actually head toward midnight. So let's take a look at the models here, and take a look at this storm here. Again, you can see that trough. Here is the low. So we have a little break, and then this second wave of moisture moves through. Let me move this, let me just make this region eastern U.S. so you can get a better idea here. So this is the GFS 18Z run, and you can see here if it keeps the worst of it off to the south and the east. That may very well be. We'll have to see, but this rain is going to ramp up a little bit later tonight, and we have the chance of rain right through the afternoon, probably early afternoon tomorrow, before it finally ends. Late afternoon, and this low, this really deep low, pulls away. You can see its track west of our area, so that means rain. But look at the backside. Some areas upstate actually could see a decent snowfall out of this. Yeah, at least upstate is going to get some winter time. Then it pulls away, and then we have colder and drier weather for Saturday. Let's take a closer look at our area here, and we will look at this on the NAM model, the NAM 12 kilometer. So here is the NAM 12 kilometer, and you see that little break, but here's that heavier rain, kind of moves it in. The NAM has it moving in. This is the 18Z NAM, has it moving in actually around 9-10 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It doesn't really look like it on the radar. It looks like maybe it'll be more later. But then we get a little break, and then we get more heavy rain again, or steady rain through the overnight wee hours. But the worst of it, the NAM seems to keep the worst of it off to our south, and I mean well to our south. So we'll have to see if that happens or not, and then gives us a chance of showers in the early afternoon as that low kind of passes by, and then that low moves up and away. But you can see, look at the snow. On the western part of the state. Albany, you may be getting a little winter. Let's take a look and see what the snowfall is for those lucky folks upstate who might be getting some winter. Ooh, look at that. Wow, they're going to be getting over a foot up in Albany. Wow. So if you want snow, you got to go upstate. They're going to get snow upstate. But for us, unfortunately, no snow for us at all. It's going to be a rain event. If we look at the total accumulated precip, you will see the NAM gives us another roughly an inch of rain, with that heaviest rain being well off to the south. So that's the NAM's impression of it. Let's look at the GFS and see big of this. Yeah, there's an agreement. The GFS even has us drier, has it more suppressed to the south, and doesn't even have us getting much more than maybe another half inch of rain. And the inch amounts are more over the southern half of New Jersey and maybe the east end of Long Island. So that's very interesting. Let's look at the snowfall totals for the GFS, shall we? Let's take a look at the total snowfall for the GFS. Not quite as dramatic as the NAM. This may be a little more realistic, but you're still going to get maybe another 9-10 inches of snow up in Albany. So upstate and in extreme northwestern into Canada there, you're going to be getting some snow. Decent amount of snow there. So if you do want to see snow, you won't have to travel too far to see it. That's at least that's some good news, right? So let's go and look at the temperatures and see what the temperatures will be doing. We'll first look at the GFS and see what the GFS has as far as temperatures to show you that warm air that's going to be coming in. So here's the GFS. You can see what happens as we head toward Friday morning. Temperatures with that low going to the west, that warm air is going to come up. Temperatures are going to rise into the 50s over our area. Including Long Island, because the winds are going to, especially toward the afternoon, they're going to go more westerly, and that's going to suppress any cooling sea breeze. But then as we head into Saturday, here comes the cold front. We're down to the mid-20s by the Saturday morning, and we will be rising up into the probably 35 to 40 degrees for over Long Island, maybe a little more toward 40 over New Jersey. And then for Sunday, we see we're still in the mid 30s. So we stay. That's about average. That's right where we are supposed to be this year for a change. But first, we got to get through all this warmth. Let's look at the dew points because there's going to be some humidity. I think the worst of that humidity stays away from us, but we're going to get a little taste of it. So yeah, dew points rise into the 50s. It's going to get muggy because we got this LLJ. But the worst of the LLJ, which is over here, it looks like it stays. So if you look at this, I'll look at the NAM because it has a bit of a higher resolution. Let's go to the NAM. 12 kilometer NAM. So you can see that the worst of that LLJ does stay away from us, it looks like, according to the models. And I would agree that I think the worst of that LLJ does stay just off to our south in the east. Fortunately, you can see this is the LLJ right here. Look at some of these dew points. Well, while we'll have dew points in maybe 50 to 55, look at these dew points over here. Dew points close to 70, not that far offshore, which is insane. I'm glad we're not getting that. But this here is the LLJ right here. So this is your LLJ. And like I said, this is what's going to bring in the moisture for the heavy rain. But luckily, the access of this is just offshore, and it looks like it will not get to us. So I'm glad. I am very glad about that. At least we dodged the bullet with that. And then we see those dew points crash. But look at the winds. Look at the high winds we're going to be dealing with here on the NAM. So we will still have high winds because we have this deep low pressure center. And we're going to see some high winds Friday afternoon. And that's why there's a wind advisory in effect for tomorrow. And you can see these high winds are going to continue overnight. And they're going to continue probably right through Saturday. Probably it looks like we're going to have some gusty winds, but not wind advisory winds. But it'll still be on the breezy side. And then we see those winds back off. And I know this is the dew point, but you can see it has the wind barbs on it, which I like using. So let's go look at the temperatures. Let's go look at the wind speeds here, and we'll see what kind of winds we're going to be looking at. So let's back this up here. Here is Friday, all right, and you can see again those. Here is Friday evening, and here's Friday. So you can see here that LLJ. Look at that. So you can see the LLJ, but you also see the strong winds over us, and it looks like the worst of the winds are going to be over the east. Look at that area of purple it's generating. That's wind speeds 50 miles an hour. That's very strong. So that's definitely something we're going to have to be concerned about. And that moves away. So this could be a problem for the South Shore and the East End. I'm curious if the GFS has those kind of winds. I think that the NAM might be overdoing it a little bit. Let's take a look at the GFS. Yeah, not quite that. I think the NAM might be having some issues there. So yeah, I think it's overdoing it a little bit. But look, when this thing winds up, it will create some really strong winds just off in the Gulf of Maine here. So that's going to be bad news. That is going to be bad news. So we will be seeing some wind tomorrow. Could cause some problems. But Saturday, it'll just be breezy. It won't be like high wind warning weather for our area. So, when are we going to see some sunshine? Well, that'll be the next thing we're going to look at here on the. We're going to look at the GFS and the NAB, and you can see clouds tomorrow. Obviously, maybe a few breaks of sun late in the afternoon, and then as we head into Saturday morning should be clear, but we have this area of clouds moving in. However, the good news is the GFS is moving a little slower on this. So it could be the bulk of the day will be clear. And the area of clouds is more north of the city. So it's possible maybe New Jersey will have more hours of sunshine versus Long Island. But Saturday's the day for some sun because after that, the clouds roll in Sunday. We're going to be dealing with the clouds Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, we try to break out of it. Thursday, we're back in it again. And here's Friday and the weekend, this next weekend, which is way in the distance. Not going to focus on that in this weather update, I don't think. We'll look at it a little bit very briefly, but we have this storm that we have to deal with first. So I think I'll rather just focus on that, and we'll get done with the storm, and then we'll worry about next week. Let's look at the windy.com site. Oh, I was going to look at the NAM with the sky cover, right? Okay, so let's look at that and see. So here's Saturday. So NAM also optimistic about Saturday. Clouds don't roll until maybe like 1, 2 o'clock, so if you get an early start, you should be able to enjoy some sunshine. Especially, like I said, it seems like over New Jersey is a little less. So maybe you'll get to see a little more sun in more hours of sunshine in New Jersey. So let's look at windy.com because, again, these winds are going to be an issue for tomorrow. And I want to, this is a good site. It uses the URL model. So here is 11 a.m. Nothing too terrible, but you can see, look at what's going on offshore. We already have sustained winds at 30 miles an hour offshore. And these are sustained winds. So here we go. It's 2 o'clock. Look at these winds here. Now things start getting bad. So around 2 o'clock, we're going to have winds sustained at the southwest at 33 miles an hour. And off the south shore of Long Island, look at that sustained wind of 48. So the Euro and the NAM are both indicating some really strong winds with this. And it's not just the NAM, it's an outlier. It seems to be an agreement that we're going to have a wind event tomorrow. 46 mile an hour wind gusts off the east. I mean, this is a sustained wind. This is sustained wind. So this is 2 p.m. Because of this very strong low pressure system. And then by 5 p.m. it backs off a little bit, but the east end is still dealing with these very strong winds. 42 from the west. But we're going to back this up now to 7 in the morning, and now we're going to look at the wind gusts because this is where it's going to really get a little crazy. So let's go into 11 a.m. here. And these wind gusts, all right, so the worst of the wind's still not with us yet. But as we head into that afternoon hour, look at these wind gusts here. This is the Euro, 66 mile an hour wind gusts off the south shore from the southwest. So could be some flooding. 68 mile an hour over Nassau. So we could be dealing with some power outages tomorrow, railroad, train disruptions, and it could be bad. It could be bad. 65 mile an hour winds. These are wind gusts. By 5 p.m. it does get a little better, but in the afternoon it looks like these winds are going to be pretty bad, and this is a big concern about tomorrow. I have a big concern about that for sure. And then as we go into Saturday, let's look at the wind gusts for Saturday. So Saturday will just be like a breezy, or we'll have wind gusts maybe 20 to 30 miles an hour, but it won't be downright windy. I could see a high wind warning being put up for these kind of winds. I'm surprised the Weather Service hasn't issued that. Let's go to their website here and see. We have the wind advisory. So this is the wind advisory they're issuing. West winds 20 to 30 with gusts to 50, but some of the models are saying it could be worse than that. So this is something to really be concerned about. Again, this is the URL model. Sometimes it may overdo it a little bit, but the potential for some really strong winds tomorrow is there. So let's look at the rain. As far as the rain risk goes, we're going to go look at tonight. I don't normally use this, but this kind of shows you where the heaviest rain is. It's off to the south. Let's see if it stays there. It looks like the Euro does keep that heaviest rain off to the south. So there's a chance we may not see that really heavy rain. And then there's just a chance of showers as we head into tomorrow. And like I said, if it does rain, or if there are some snow showers even, it's going to be very windy. That's for sure. So let's go look at the cloud situation here. You can see there might be a break in the cloud late in the afternoon, but it's Saturday. That's the day that will hopefully be clear. So 7 a.m. we're clear. 11 a.m. we're still clear. And I think it's around 1 that we start seeing those clouds roll in. So hopefully there'll be a window for some sunshine on Saturday, because after that window closes and then we're stuck in the clouds again. So I also want to look at the waves for Friday as well, see how high these waves get. This is 3 p.m. We could be dealing with, 16-footer waves. So it's going to be bad. It's going to be rough. Definitely going to be a rough go of it for Friday afternoon. I think I might have said Saturday by mistake. I'm sorry. But it'll be a rough go of it for Friday afternoon. Let me just go look at the lightning. Well, let's go look at the temperatures, I should say. Let's go look at the temperatures here. So here are the temperatures, and I just want to show you that there's also going to be accompanying by this wind a rapid drop in temperatures. So this is the Euro as far as the temperatures go. You can see how warm it gets it over Tom's River. So they're going to get in some of that really warm air for the morning. See, it could get close to 60. Long Island could be in the 50s. But then watch what happens as we head toward 1 o'clock. Long Island is still in the 50s, but now let's go to 4 p.m. Temperatures start dropping very rapidly with that very strong cold air advection. We're down to 40 at 4 p.m., and then by 8 p.m., we're dropping into the 30s, mid-30s, and then by Saturday morning, look at that, we're down into the 20s now. So temperatures will drop very rapidly. And here is Saturday, 11 a.m. 30s, upper 20s over Long Island, warmer in Toms River, of course. And let's go to 2 p.m., same deal. So it seemed like there was a lag there. Let's go to 1 p.m. All right, there we go. So Long Island, mid-30s, Toms River a little warmer. But what can I tell you? It's going to be a bit of a rough 24 hours to get through, and then Saturday should be a nice day, and hopefully we can get some sun. But we got to get through this wind. We got to get through this rain. And the last thing I want to look at is a lightning detection, because looks like there's a lot of lightning with this storm. I'm curious how much lightning there is with this. Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow. Look at all that lightning down there. So it's really unusual for this. And actually, for once, it's actually going to be colder here than it will be in Flagstaff. For once, for once, well, if we look at our weather, you'll see. If I go click over Long Island, you'll see that it's it will be. If you look at the forecast, you'll see Saturday 37 and sunny. If we go and look at, let's go and look at Albany, because if you really want winter, I know I run my mouth about Flagstaff, but it's actually kind of warm there too. If you really want winter, you go to Albany. Look at that. So they're going to have, let's see, they could have, well, they're not calling for that much snow over there. Just an inch. I'm surprised. I think they might get a little more than that. I think they're being a little too cautious. But Saturday, it's not getting above freezing if you're up in Albany. So it will be a really cold day in Albany. Whereas if you're in Flagstaff is actually going to be quite warm this weekend as well. So it's not just us. Even they do have the sunshine, but look at this. 54 for Friday, 55 for Saturday. That's too warm. Yes, they have the sun, but it is too warm for wintertime for it to be that. So like I said, it's the whole lower 48 that's dealing with this pattern. But we're not going to talk about the pattern in this update. We've got to deal with this pretty intense storm. The wind is, looks like, wait, there is a high wind warning that was issued. Let's see. I do see a high wind warning on the map. So they did issue it for southeastern Massachusetts into parts of Rhode Island. So I could see this being extended over Long Island, at least the eastern part. So that wraps up this weather update. Take care, and thank you for watching.